Identical twins. Have you ever gone into work, school, or some other occasion to cover your twin? How did it work out? My dad is an identical twin. He has some stories. He did tell me of a time when he was in college that he asked his brother to cover for him in a Friday afternoon class, so my dad could leave town early to get back to his girlfriend. My dad and my uncle were majoring in the same subject, so that helped, but they had different electives. I did help that most of the students in the class knew both my uncle and my dad, so they helped my uncle out when he got cornered by a question every once in a while. The prof never caught on. I was working in a department store and my twin came in to grab something. As he was walking through the store, my manager mistook him for me and proceeded to chew him out for being out of uniform and leaving the electric section empty. He let her yell for a bit and then told her he was my twin. Now I don't tell people that I'm a twin. Too many stupid questions, so even when he told her, she didn't believe him. I happened to be walking nearby when I heard the interaction and finally put it to rest. Edit. I wanted to have the stupidest question I've ever gotten. When you look in a mirror, how do you know it's really you and not your twin? My grandmother. So you did leave your section. I never said I was a good employee. Dated a twin and they shared an insurance policy in college. I'm a twin. We aren't identical. My cousins are though. They would switch spots to take tests for each other in different classes when they were in high school because one was usually better at certain subjects. It never failed, except a single time. They got suspended, but they managed to convince everyone that it was the first time. And they only wanted to see if it would work, even though they'd been doing it all throughout high school, so they didn't get in too much trouble. They still talk about it proudly. And we all still laugh about how they managed it. Their mother still scolds them whenever they bring it up, because even she believed their lie back then. My dad is an identical twin. Legend has it that on their 16th birthday my dad's twin was sick. My father went and passed his own driver's test, went home to change clothes, and then went back and passed his brother's test for him. My aunts are identical twins. They used to swap places on test days in school. One would take a math test twice, the other would take an English test twice. Since they often dressed the same anyway, it wasn't obvious. Yes, they were successful. My sister, Devon Cakes, and I were in the same kindergarten class. And we had the brilliant idea to switch seats. Our seats were on opposite sides of the room and pretend to be one another as a joke. We both asked to be excused from the restroom and went in together. Then we went into separate stalls and passed our clothes to each other under the stalls while giggling at how this was such a good idea. I remember doing a worksheet and I tried to write with my left hand. She's left-handed and I had no idea how to spell her name. So I kept looking at a pencil holder she made that had her name on it. Eventually the rest of the class caught on and started doing pranks of their own, and the whole class was starting to get out of control. Kids were laughing while the teacher was trying to talk, shouting random shit out loud, and one kid got up and hid behind the teacher's back like in a cartoon. Our teacher got so upset that she started to cry. Identical mirror twin here. It never worked out well for us. We look similar, but personality wise we are pretty easy to tell apart. The face would get you in the door, but 5 minutes later it's straight to the principal's office. The top comments will deal with identical twins as students. I'm a teacher, and at one of the schools I teach, there are professors who are identical twins. For the entire first semester I taught there, I did not know they were two people. The way I found out was that one of them used my classroom immediately after my class one day, and she came in and was talking to me and getting her stuff all ready for her class. I packed up and left the room and went directly down the hall to the faculty lounge. I opened the door and there she was, sitting at a table inside. For the first time in my life I had a genuine glitch in the Matrix moment. It took me about 5 seconds to understand that I was dealing with identical twins and not a single person who could teleport. I know they sub for each other, but I don't know if they do it without telling their classes. I did in 11th grade, went into my sister's French class. The teacher was an idiot and didn't notice. I don't even speak French and have only ever taken Spanish. Some other kids told him and I got kicked out. Really? Someone ratted you out in 11th grade? That is ridiculous. Hope the rat got some comeuppance cause that's just pitiful for a 16 to 17 year old. U/Kara0 is somewhere in this thread, so I'm gonna tag her in case I get more karma than her, so I can show off. Anywho, to answering the question. When we were about 18 or 19, I used to work for a sandwich chain known for their speedy delivery service. Delivering sandwiches was fun and all, however, $50 paychecks are not fun. Meanwhile, Kara0 got a really good job at a department store known for their usage of the color red in their logo. She was making about $10 an hour as a cashier, so I was quite jealous. Kara is a real people person and managed to sweet talk hours into giving me a job there as a cashier. Once she had told me the news, I immediately went to the sandwich place, high on adrenaline, and quit without putting in a 2 weeks notice. Talk about living life on the edge, right? /s. My boss tried to talk me out of it, but somehow I managed to stand my ground. This was like climbing a mountain for me lol. While not often enough, occasionally, our schedules would overlap. People really look at you like you're a circus act when your exact copy is working the checkout lane that's right next to yours. Well, guess who starts to make their way towards my lane? My old boss. I had felt like such a jerk for quitting without notice. At this point, Kara is about to head out on her lunch break when I ask to borrow her name tag, just in time before my old boss got to my register. To shorten this drawn out story, it worked. But I accidentally threw his gift card in the trash because I was so nervous and had to dig through it for him. _greater than sign. Edit. Got gold. Take that, U/Kara0, greater than sign. I'm gonna tag her in case I get more karma than her, so I can show off. You fucking bitch. Edit. Bitch, _ Not me but my old 3rd grade teacher. He had told the class multiple times before that he has an identical twin brother, but none of us believed him. We may have been 3rd graders, but we weren't stupid. Well, one day he tells us that we'll have a substitute teacher the next day and that this sub will be his brother. Holy shit. Okay, we were 3rd graders. It may have been holy diddy. The next day rolls around and lo and behold, this guy that looks exactly like our teacher is sitting at the desk. When asked, he said the only difference was that his nose isn't broken. The real teacher had broken his nose in an accident playing football in college, and this we knew. His voice sounded different, and he wasn't wearing glasses. Real teacher did, so we were all certain this was the brother. Then finally, many months later, on the last day of school, the teacher tells us that he does have an identical twin brother, but that wasn't him we met. That was just the teacher wearing contacts instead of glasses and disguising his voice. Fooled us good. Once started a conversation with my sister's maths teacher who didn't know I wasn't my sister or that she had a twin at all. It got too far down the conversation for me to correct her because I didn't want to make her feel embarrassed. She kept asking me more and more questions about the exam that my sister had just done, which I had no clue about, and I kept trying to bluff my answers. But I got more and more stressed that eventually I snapped and said, "Miss, I'm really sorry. I have no clue what you're talking about. I'm not sister. I'm her sister. Me. I didn't take the exam." The worst thing is we have rhyming names, so when I told her I could just see her thinking this girl is actually trying to give me this half-assed lie. She thinks I'm dumb. Like those teenage TV shows where the character sees someone they want to avoid, and they're like, haha. I'm not Rob. I'm his brother. Bob. Q Sigcom laughter soundtrack. Asterisk. No, but there were a few times where she's gone into my work when I wasn't there and people mistook her for me. I suppose she's lucky they didn't try to get her to cover for me. Haha. One day I was sick in high school, but my mom made me still go to school. I had an in-class essay that was 25% of my grade that day, and since my sister had that class earlier in the day and got to see the prompt, I convinced her to do it for me. We have different clothing styles, so we switched clothes and she wrote my essay, which I got a B+ on. I was happy with that considering I was pretty sick. and couldn't have done that. We decided to just go the whole day like that, and no teachers caught on. Another time that kinda sucked though was also in high school when my twin fell in front of everyone at lunch. It got around that I was the one who fell. My boyfriend even came to me making sure I was okay. I was so embarrassed because literally the whole school was laughing about it. Obviously my sister didn't do much to make it clear it wasn't me lol. There were times when I have also done embarrassing things and said it was my twin. Comes in handy. Now I have bleach blonde hair and people can easily tell who is who, but we live in different cities, so we can't switch much anyways. Identical twin. The issue that a lot of people overlook about this whole swap is that even though you might look like someone, your behavior is different, and there's a ton of detailed information you would need to know to pull it off. When my brother and I did it in 3rd grade, I didn't even bother to ask him what desk was his. My school separated the twins, so we had this set in my level in grade 5. Let's call them David and Chris. We had Chris in our class that year. Lovely kid, kept his hair at a shaggy length. David was in another class. He had a very short haircut. So one day David walks into our class and tries the "oh I got my haircut" line, to which we all call bullshit. Eventually our teacher shows up and she spots it right away and tells him to go back to his class. Meanwhile in David's class, all the kids are giggling at Chris sitting casually at the front, while the teacher is *completely*OBLIVIOUS*. She didn't notice until David walked in and told Chris that he got busted. My kids aren't identical, but there's a lot of them at our twin play grub. One set is always color coded. Ben wears blue, Glenn wears green kinda deal. Anyway, one day Ben's getting up to mischief, and when he was called out on it, he said, "No, I'm Glenn," thinking that switching names would get him out of trouble.